All right, let's talk about something huge. We're about to dive into the new EU-India Free Trade Agreement. Now, this is a massive opportunity, but it also comes with equally massive risks. Think of it like a $100 billion gauntlet. It's absolutely worth running, but only if you know the right path. So let's get into it. First things first, just look at that number. 100 billion euros. That's the sheer scale of what's on the table here. It's the potential prize of this new trade deal, a truly monumental opportunity for Indian exporters. But, and this is a big but, hiding behind that staggering number is a series of really dangerous hidden traps. And this quote just cuts right to the heart of it. The danger here isn't about shaving a few points off your profit margin. No, we're talking about risking the entire business. Total failure. It all comes down to these new compliance rules and financing models that, if you ignore them, can be absolutely catastrophic. This is the real razor's edge we're going to unpack. So, let's get specific. What are we actually talking about? Well, there are three critical challenges that can turn this billion-euro dream into an absolute nightmare. And listen, these are not minor hurdles or little bumps in the road. These are lethal traps for anyone who isn't prepared. First up is what we're calling the fine print trap. You know, everyone gets excited about the obvious stuff, right? The lower tariffs, which are in Chapter 2 of the agreement. But the real power, the stuff with real teeth, is buried in Chapters 5 and 6. That's where you find the technical and sanitary barriers, and especially in Annex 14A, which covers the new carbon border adjustments. These aren't just suggestions, they're the rules that can make or break your entire deal. And just think about the consequences for a second. We're talking about a tiny, seemingly insignificant oversight, a trace of a pesticide that wasn't approved, or a carbon footprint that you didn't document correctly. That doesn't just get you a slap on the wrist or a fine. No way. It can get your entire multi-million euro shipment destroyed right there at the border. And the kicker? You're the one who has to foot the bill. The deal is dead on arrival. Okay, the second trap is all about the money. It's called default correlated debt. Now, the old way of doing things is you sign a big contract, you get excited, and then you scramble to the bank to get a loan to actually produce the goods. But what happens if your European buyer, your OEM, suddenly runs into trouble and defaults on the deal? Well, that debt you took on, that's now 100% your problem. It creates this dangerous contagion effect that can pull your whole company down right along with them. And finally, there's the legal void. So let's say you have a dispute with a buyer in a place like the Nordic-Baltic region. You might go to court in India and win a judgment. Fantastic, right? Well, not really. That piece of paper from an Indian court is essentially meaningless in Estonia or Denmark if the buyer over there defaults. Without a local, enforceable legal framework, you're left with basically no real protection at all. So yeah, those are the traps. And I know, it sounds pretty grim, but there is a clear path forward. The solution isn't about just trying to find money after you've already made a commitment. It's about completely re-engineering the entire export process to achieve something called order execution certainty. And this right here is the crucial point. We have to shift our thinking. The goal isn't to reactively find funding for an order you've already accepted. The real goal is to build a proactive system, a system that guarantees, with a very high degree of certainty, that an order is financially solid, legally sound, and totally compliant before you ever commit a single rupee to production. So how do you do that? Well, this new blueprint is built on three core pillars. First, you use data-driven intelligence to decide if a deal is even worth your time, a go, no-go decision. Second, you use a specialized service partner to handle all the financial structuring. And third, you embed local EU legal experts directly into your process from the very beginning. Let's break down how these all connect. Okay. Here's how this whole system works together. The go, no-go framework moves you away from just hoping a deal works out to using actual data, so you only chase deals that are truly bankable. Then an EOFAS partner, that stands for Export Order Fulfillment as a Service, bundles all that complex financing stuff together for you. It even leverages your buyer's credit to lower your costs. And finally, partnering with local EU legal experts like Magnuson's India desk de-risks the whole compliance nightmare, making sure your contracts are bulletproof and your shipments fly through customs. It's a complete interlocking system designed for safety. So, all of this leads to a final choice. When you look at all these risks and these new solutions, any exporter who's looking at the EU market is really facing one of three potential paths forward. And the difference between the first two paths couldn't be more clear. On one hand, you've got the traditional approach. You're basically relying on hope, and you're risking a catastrophic failure. On the other hand, you have the certainty-based approach. Here, you're building your growth on validated, predictable deals with capital secured up front and legal protection where it actually matters, inside the EU. And the third path, of course, is to just do nothing and risk getting left completely behind. And look, the best part is the path to get started is just as clear. The recommendation isn't to overhaul your entire business overnight. It's about starting smart. Pilot this new architecture on your incoming European requests for just the next 30 days. Get your standard contracts reviewed by actual legal experts who know the turf. And mandate a simple predictive audit before you sign any new order over 250,000 lakhs. These are practical, immediate steps you can take.
So, we'll leave you with this one last question. As you look at this massive $100 billion opportunity sitting right in front of you, you really have to ask yourself, is my strategy for capturing it built on the fragile foundation of hope, or is it meticulously engineered for certainty? Because honestly, the answer to that question could make all the difference in the world.